ruler of this planet should therefore know that all the inhabitants, especially human beings, have come to this material world for sense enjoyment. It is therefore the duty of the ruler to satisfy them in the sense enjoyment as well as to elevate them to Krishna consciousness, so that they all can ultimately return home back to Godhead.
This is your life.
Uh-huh. So now I have to be careful again what I speak. I thought we have more intimate setting here today. Like this is good?
Yes.
Perfect. So one more paragraph. With this idea in mind, the king or government head should rule the world. In this way, everyone will be satisfied. How can this be accomplished? There are many examples like Prithuma's read. Om Ajnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Si Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapatantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parichana Samirada Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dino Bando Chagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pestaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschadyade Shatanine Vancha Kalpa Tarupyascha Kipasindupye Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, warm welcome also to our online audience. Let's repeat the verse again. Gopitaya chagachishte kale svesve chutatmakaha manovak ritipi samye gunai samranchayan brachaha. Since Maharaj Prithu was a perfect devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he wanted to protect the Lord's creation by pleasing the various citizens according to their various desires. Therefore, Prithu Maharaj used to please them in all respects by his words, mentality, works, and gentle behavior. So, Prithu Maharaj, he gives us the perfect example of a leader. He was speaking for quite some time to his citizens, but now he is teaching through his practical example. I guess in your life, you had different leaders around you. Maybe starting with your parents, teachers, some managers. And I would like to make a short exercise with you. Just remember one of that leaders in your life, just one person. That one person who brought out the best in you, in which association you felt alive, you felt inspired, nourished. So bring that person in front of your mind's eye. And just connect again with what was it like to be around that person? How did you feel? How was your commitment towards the project or the task which this leader brought into your life? And maybe there were also other relationships with leaders which were maybe not so enlightening. Leaders who did not recognize you as a person. They were just interested that you complete some tasks. So how did it feel like to be around such a kind of person? What was your commitment towards the projects, tasks of that leader? Anyone would like to share some experiences, some feelings you had in these two different kind of relationships? Could you all manifest someone in front of your mind's eye? Most probably, more or less. Anyone would like to share either kind of experience with like a inspiring leader or maybe with someone who was not so inspiring in one's life? Yes?
Okay, so yeah, I was working in an organization. I used to be also voluntary. There we had this small film team. We went to Germany. They also had this few people with that made a project, made some interviews,
Mm-hmm.
and there was this guy, Manfred, and he was really professional in how he talked to people and was able to really connect to you and was never offensive in any way.
Mm-hmm.
Even if something wasn't perfect, he was really a perfect example on how to interact and lead in a way.
How did you feel in that kind of relationship?
Yeah, I felt very encouraged and was motivated to do something I haven't done before.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You also had another kind of experience with a leader which was not so favorable.
Yeah. Yeah, that's when I was doing a apprenticeship,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, the leader there, he was just mainly interested in achieving his company goals. That's
Mm-hmm.
how I felt, and that was very discouraging. Also, I left
Mm.
there
Mm-hmm.
after a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Anyone else would like to share their experiences? Yes.
I was remembering I had a math teacher in school. I always had difficulty with mathematics, but this teacher made me love it. It was so inspiring. He loved it so much, and he really communicated that to us. And because of him only, like I really went well that year. And I remember he was so accessible, so he was really supportive, also individually. And I really loved mathematics. It was like a new world for me because of that teacher. I never forget. And the other experience was also another teacher who was just, I could say, the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
You could see he was not so happy, and he would go and kind of do his duty and leave. And yeah, he was not really inspiring. And
How was your commitment towards that second leader?
I didn't feel inspired to. I didn't do so well also, and many students didn't do so well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else would like to share? Oh, many. Yes.
I was thinking that the difference between the two leaders I had was that One was very personal in his approach, and the other was impersonal.
Mm.
And the one who was personal was just very caring and attentive, and that made me feel enthusiastic and
Mhm.
cared, and I felt just safe. I wasn't scared.
Mhm.
And the impersonal, it was no matter how much I liked where I was working, I was just left because of the
Mhm.
attitude.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, I also somehow I compared to my arts teachers from the past. Like the first, I felt really discouraged and like unmotivated and yeah, not useful. And the second was like a good one. I felt really like sheltered and yeah, useful, encouraged. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing. I guess we all had similar experiences. We have been in relationships which were inspiring, uplifting, where there was some resonance, where we could connect with the other person. And in that kind of association, we felt inspired, we felt encouraged, we felt a sense of commitment. And then there were also relationships where there was just no connection. We felt like just being used, like just being a resource in someone else's interest. And we couldn't make a commitment. And at one point we left not just the relationship, but like the whole setting. Could be the company, could be an organization, a movement, whatever. We see here an important principle of leadership. A leader can lift you up or can track you down. Because we as followers, what we do, we give our trust into that person. We have an integral need, a need for security and protection. And usually this is what we seek for when we enter such a kind of relationship. That someone is guiding us, someone has our best interests in mind and offers us protection. That's also the meaning of the word kshatriya. Kshatriya is one of the varnas in the varna ashram system. Kshatriya means the one who protects one from being hurt. Now here we have the example of Prithu Maharaj, which is very exemplary. He's like the perfect leader. He's the representative of the Lord. He is the Lord himself. But he acts as a representative of the Lord. And as such, he understood actually what is the purpose of this creation. And as it's described here, Srila Prabhupada, he elaborates in the purport that this material world has a certain purpose. It may be inferior to the purpose of the spiritual world, but still there's a purpose. And the purpose is to give facilities for us living entities so that we can fulfill our desires in this world. That's a very noble purpose. Krishna, he created this whole material universe, this whole material world, so just that we can fulfill our material desires. How kind is Krishna? But that's not all. It's described here. Prithu Maharaj, he gave all facilities for his citizens that they can have that kind of experience, that they can have their sense enjoyment. But it didn't stop there. Because responsible leadership means to elevate people. And therefore the aspect of spiritual enlightenment is very important too. Because actually, to stop that cycle of repeated birth and death, one has to become self-realized. One has to become Krishna conscious. In the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, there are different kinds of annihilations described. Like different stages when this material universe goes through a transition. And the fourth stage, the ultimate annihilation of the material universe, is very special. because it's related with the individual. That moment when we transcend our false ego, when we become purified from our lower tendencies, at that moment, actually, the material universe ceases to exist. So, you, all of you, you are responsible that this material world exists. And at the same time, you are responsible that it will dissolate. No, this, how you say? This? Dissolute. That there will be a dissolution at one point of time. And it happens on an individual level, this final or ultimate dissolution. It happens when we as an individual have transcended our false ego and became purified. So therefore, the responsibility, excuse me, the responsibility for leadership is with all of us. Therefore, a principle is also, every leader is also a follower. Yeah. We may follow someone, but maybe someone else is following us. So the responsibility for leadership is with all of us. And therefore it's so important, as Srila Prabhupada said in the purport, that we study these examples of these great leaders, because they show us the path to liberation. Now, if you look into our modern world, we just heard it, there may be examples of leadership which are not so inspiring. Srila Prabhupada calls them here the atheists, those who are not God conscious. They may miss the whole point of leadership. Because we said the principle of leadership is to give protection. That's the meaning of the word kshatriya, to protect others from being hurt. And we also understood that security is a primary need we all have. Now, modern leadership got it completely wrong. Modern leadership is focused on exploitation, which is complete opposite to security, exploitation. And the result of this, the world becomes like hell. Because once this basic need for security is not met, how would you react? You become anxious, you become stressed. And at one point, you realize that actually no one is taking care of me. I have to take care of myself. Which means the propensity for selfishness becomes more strong. And at that point, everyone is just thinking of me, myself, and I. How can I protect myself? Because no one is protecting me, so how can I protect myself? And this is the degradation of society. If people are not able to cooperate anymore, if there's no community, if there's no spirit of service, serving others, then society is just degrading. And if you look, like, mental health is a big issue nowadays. We all may know someone who has serious mental health issues, depression, anxieties, disorders. It's all a problem of leadership. Because if leadership would give protection, there would be less anxieties, there would be less stress. People would feel secure. And when we are secure, then we can thrive. Then we are in our element, in our energy. Then we have clarity. We have inspiration, motivation. We follow some goal, some higher purpose. So leadership gives the vision, and leadership also gives the facilities so that we can engage in that purpose. And modern society unfortunately fails in that regard. Now, what we need nowadays are servant leaders. A leader who is a servant and at the same time a leader, a servant leader. Someone who sincerely cares about other people, who has the best interests of people in mind. Because such a leader understood if I take care of people, people will take care of the projects. Yeah. So that's a superior form of leadership. Like if you see an organizational chart, then usually on the top you have the boss. And then on the next level below you have the department heads, and then you have some teams, and it's like a pyramid, going like this from the top down. Now servant leadership makes it topsy-turvy. It just puts it the other way around. Who is now on the top are the people. And it goes down in this way to the boss or the head or the CEO or the temple president or whoever. Yeah. That's servant leadership. A servant leader finds joy in developing other people, to make them leaders too. Because that's what Prabhupada wanted. Prabhupada wanted that we all become leaders. He even said we should all become gurus. Actually, Lord Chaitanya confirmed that we should all become gurus. A guru is a leader. A guru is someone who is taking care of people. So the responsibility for leadership we cannot outsource. It's primarily a responsibility we have. Because everyone who is taking that responsibility of leadership first has to learn to lead oneself. Yeah. Because the basic principle of good leadership is self-care. You have to be a balanced person. You have to have some capacity. Because how can you give something to others if you don't have it yourself? If you are an empty bottle, who should get nourished? So we have to take care of ourselves. Maybe you've heard Kadamba Swami's analogy of juggling, the 3 balls. Anyone knows of you juggling? You look like a juggler, someone who can do this. No? So just imagine you have 3 balls and you start juggling. I'm not good at juggling, I even don't know how to do it. So. But the fact is, 1 ball is in the air. The other one you're about to catch, while you're throwing the other one to the hand which just released 1 ball. Quite complex. And Maharaj, he mentions 3 elements which these balls are representing. The first ball is self-care. Taking care of your physical, emotional, mental and spiritual well-being. The second ball is your sadhana, your spiritual practice, which is mainly the hearing and chanting. And the third ball is the mission. What are you doing for Srila Prabhupada? And all of them are important, but you see they're in movement. One may be prominent and the other one is resting. But you have to keep them in balance, you have to keep them in movement. So, first of all, we have to take care of ourselves. Not in an egocentric way, it's just about me, I don't care about anything and anyone. Prabhu, don't ask me for any service because I'm in my self-care program now. Balance means you do things at a proper time. What do you think? What is the best time to practice sadhana? Your chanting?
Early morning.
Early morning. Any other opinions? At night. Okay.
In the bus when I go to work.
On the way when you're to work in the bus. So you said in the morning. What's the advantage of chanting in the morning?
The mind is very clear. You're not tired. And yeah, it feels different. I do it later. I think everyone, almost maybe everyone has experienced that.
You feel the morning hours, there's focus, you're fresh, and you can give your attention to it.
Yes.
Yes. What about the nighttime? What's the advantages of the nighttime?
It's on my experience.
Yeah.
I try in the morning, in the day, in the evening, and decided this night was the best for me.
Okay, for you it works best
When
in the
I'm
night.
moon or
Yeah. Yes.
Nice, very peaceful.
Okay. Thank you. What about chanting in the bus on the way to work?
It was a joke, of course, as there are many distractions there.
Ah.
It's more difficult to concentrate,
Okay.
especially if you miss morning time.
Okay. So chanting in the bus not so favorable, huh? Because there are many distractions. So should we conclude that the best time for chanting is the morning, and the second best time is the night? Yes. And with a bus, it requires a lot of practice. So we better focus on the morning and some on the night. Yes. So the morning hours are especially favorable for sadhana practice because the world is still sleeping, and also our mind is not so busy yet with all the engagements of the day. And it's said, the hours you miss in the morning, you're gonna run after during the whole day. Yeah. What's your experience if you're not chanting your rounds in the morning? You're just running behind it the whole day. At least for me, that's very difficult. If I'm not focused in the morning, it's very difficult for me to stay focused during the day. And I don't remember his name. Very long name. One Swami. He shared during our Bhakti Shastri that as long you have not performed or completed your sadhana practice, it is very difficult to take care of others. If you think about serving the devotees, as long we are still busy with our duties, it may be very difficult to shift our mind, to shift our focus to serving the devotees. So therefore it's very important that we give priority to the things which are important in our life. And sadhana practice should be important for us as devotees, because it gives us the basis, the fundament and the connection for all our other activities. So first things first, sadhana should be in the morning or sometimes at night. Yes. Our self-care should be something which is ongoing. Yeah. We have to have a proper diet. We have to do some exercises. Either you dance like mad in kirtan or you do some yoga. Yeah, whatever works for you. But it's good to have some physical exercise. It's good for the mind, it's good for the body. Also our emotional, mental well-being we should consider. It's very important to have good relationships, to have connection with like-minded devotees. Because there you can open your heart, there you can share your mind. And there you can also be available for others. Where there is a connection, we feel more inclined to give from ourselves and also to receive from others. And the third aspect, the mission, what are you doing for Srila Prabhupada? Yeah. That's something which should be a mantra we're repeating every day. What can I do today to serve my spiritual master? What can I do today to serve Srila Prabhupada? And then you check in the evening, have I actually done it? Yeah. Was I engaged in the spirit of service, in the mood and spirit of the mission? So you see, leadership is first of all a responsibility towards oneself. And once we are good self-leaders, then we can expand it to others. So therefore, the most important leadership is self-leadership. Everything else builds up on that. How do you feel on a scale, let's say from 0 to 10, which 0 is really, it couldn't get worse, and 10 is, I'm perfectly situated in my self-leadership. I'm a balanced person, I have focused sadhana, and I'm engaged in the mission. On a scale of 0 to 10, where is your number? You don't have to share it, this is just for you in your mind. Yeah. There's some dynamic, not every day is the same. Time is also very fast. I could share more, but I would like to finish here and open for questions. Do you have any questions or comments?
books, and one man he took a book. He was saying he worked with also with mental health or something, and he see like many people have different problems with this, and maybe you can also elaborate this topic.
Sure. My wife, she's an expert because she's a doctor, medical doctor, and also works with people in that kind condition. Would you like to share a little bit?
I could not listen properly.
Prabhu said that he met someone who is working with people who have mental health problems. And your question was to elaborate a little bit more. What is that mental health, and why it's so important, and what kind of symptoms could we see?
It's important because in operation consciousness you think, okay, we deal a lot with mind. There's a lot about mind in our scriptures. So sometimes you just say, okay, just chant Hare Krishna, control your mind, and everything is fine. But sometimes not as easy as this. You can have sometimes you can need professional help. And there's a very nice article written by Archana Siddhas, disciple of Prabhupada, from Rehabilitation Team, speak about this, dealing with mental health problems. And he says that even though our spiritual practice is a remedy for everything, sometimes we need professional help so we can practice our sadhana. So we shouldn't neglect this. And no, when it's just our mind that's like going up and down, or if there's some medical condition in the background that should be treated so we can practice our sadhana properly. And if you think, okay, someone in my community maybe should go for a professional, I think it should be encouraged. And if you have a suspicion, most probably this person will need.
She mentions also in that article that devotees often have the concern, should I go to a non-devotee therapist?
Yeah, Bhakti Swami, he says that the best is if you go for someone that understands your spiritual values. Because if people are materialists, for example, a materialist psychologist, he could think that, okay, he practices humility, and he can take it as like low self-esteem. We practice detachment, so they can think that dispersonalization. So the best is if you go for someone that understands your spiritual values.
Thank you. The problem with mental health issues is that they come very silent, and they build up over time until it becomes a big problem. Yeah? And often people who suffer from mental health issues or disorders, they withdraw. Yeah? They're not presenting themselves in that way. It's like you putting on some masks. Oh, I'm a happy person. But inside there's a lot of trouble. And honestly speaking, often we put like a stamp on people. They are crazy or whatever. Yeah? But it's something we all carry in us. Yeah? We are all carrying some kind of traumas, some past experience, often from previous lives. And especially when we take to the process of devotional service, where we sincerely start to purify ourselves, things from the subconscious can suddenly become very prominent in our lives. And then what to do? As my wife said, devotional service is the cure for everything. But at a certain point in life, we may need a kind more of professional treatment for what is coming up. And I feel it's very important also in our communities that we are aware when people are having problems. You know, we can be so busy that we're ignoring that someone just next to us has some serious problems in their life. And we can just clap them on the back and say, Prabhu, it's okay, just continue, just go on. Yeah. Just one more day. Until that person completely breaks, and leaves the process. So it's very important to be alert, to be alert of how the devotees are doing, how myself I'm doing. Yeah. And to have these close relationships where you can open your mind. It's very important, and it's important in a community like here to have that kind of relationships. Because you may live in a big house with many people, but you may feel very alone here. Yeah? Because everyone is just running around. There's no time for personal exchange. And this is not a setting where we can thrive as a spirit soul. Then suddenly things are coming to the front which we never experienced in us. And we don't know how to deal with them. So it's very important to reveal oneself in confidence to those with whom we have developed a trustful relationship. And being available for them too, to hear them, to listen to them. Thank you. Very important question. Anyone else you would like to? Just say. Or you want to say something in connection with this? Okay.
I just wanted to ask about, because you mentioned this example, so I wanted to ask if is self-care like and a pillar that the other two are like balancing on, and if it's not proper, then it's impossible to do sadhana and mission.
Yes, yeah. It's certainly a fundament of life to take care of one's body, of one's mind. And Satchidananda Swami, he speaks about the tree of life analogy. Have you heard about that? The tree of life represents 3 areas. The roots of the tree are going deep in the earth, and they are practically not visible because they are under the earth. But the roots are actually the most important part of the tree, because without the roots, the tree cannot grow. And the tree also gets stability from the roots. They protect the tree from storms, winds. So the roots represent our spiritual practice, which is our first priority, so to say. Then the trunk of the tree, this is what we can see, what is visible, which stands in the world. That's our physical, mental and emotional well-being. Yeah. What happens in our relationship with Krishna, others don't see. That's something intimate. Yeah. But how we live our life, how we are, this becomes visible to others too. So that's the trunk. And if you have healthy roots, if you have a strong trunk, then this tree will carry a crown, which can be very big. And this crown carries fruits. And the fruits represent what you share, what you give to others. So in order to be a contributor in this world, you have to have healthy roots and a strong trunk. Yeah. First priority, our spiritual practice. But we cannot neglect our physical and mental well-being. And Srila Prabhupada, he wrote in one letter, your first priority is your health. Yeah. It was an instruction to an individual, but we can take it as a general principle also. Because if you don't take care of your health, of your body and your mind, then how much focus can you give to your spiritual practice? Yeah. If the mind is disturbed, if the body is sick, how inspired are we for chanting? Honestly speaking, when I'm sick, I just want to rest. Yeah. So therefore we have to cultivate our roots once we are in a good physical and mental condition, so that when the tough times are coming, that we are strong. And there will be a final exam, it's called death. So we have to be prepared, because who knows in what kind of condition we're going to be. Yeah. So self-care is a fundament on which all the other sections are lying.
Yeah, I want to mention that it seems quite contradictory sometimes. On one hand, we learn to serve every day, serve all the time, and then on the other hand is this pillar which is self-care, and it seems that it really gets hard sometimes for lots of devotees to really understand that, yeah, self-care is the most important thing, but on the other side, we also often care a lot, or maybe too much about ourselves and our idea of self, our false idea, identification with ego and self, and to serve, to look inward and outwardly at the same time can be very challenging.
Mm-hmm.
So, sometimes I feel like, I want to serve, and I know it's important, but then at the same time, I feel like, should I really should rest a little and take care of myself? And so I want to mention it's very important if you should take your day off every week, and really, even if someone asks, there's so much, can you do this, can you do that? You should say, no, I take my day off, and it's a good thing to, if you cannot do it in temple easily, go to nature or do something which...
And it should be in harmony with, like, the temple leader also. Like, the temple leader also has the responsibility to give you that free day. Yeah. And there will always be emergency, but it's juggling, huh? We have to throw the balls. Like Kadambakananda Swami, he shared in a recent interview that at a moment in his life it means self-care is most prominent. Huh? He said, I have to take 3 days a week just care of myself because he is in a difficult health condition. So things will change according to the circumstances. But we have to know what we need so that we can function. If you have a car and if you're not taking care of that car, at some time it will just be broken. You cannot use it anymore. So our body is like a car. We have to take care of that body so that we can engage our body, our mind, our senses in devotional service. And related with this tree of life analogy is the principle of sattva. Sattva means to be balanced. Not too much, not saying I'm going now for 3 days into the forest and no mobile phone, don't expect me to come before I'm starving. Yeah. So a healthy life is a balanced life. Temple life is challenging because what you practically do, you give up all sense of, let's say it in another way. You commit yourself 100%. Yeah? It's complete surrender if you join the temple. You commit yourself to serving Krishna and the devotees with all your capacity. Especially if the brahmachari ashram. Yeah? You don't have to take care of family, you don't have a job, you don't have to pay bills. It's full surrender. Yeah? If you know that temple life is just a station where maybe for a couple of weeks, a couple of months, or maybe for 1 year you commit yourself, then have the outlook, see your future. What do I have to learn here? How can I prepare myself the best for what is coming after temple life? And it's important to be honest with oneself, not being in an illusion. That I'm fully surrendered, but actually I still have some desires, which at one point will just come out, often as an explosion and not so healthy. Know what is balance for you. Yeah? Connect with yourself, with your inner and outer well-being. And be aware, what do I need in life so that I can function, that I can serve according to my best capacity. And where I'm heading to in my life, what's the future? What do I have to learn while being in the temple so that I can continue my spiritual life, my Krishna consciousness, while living outside of the temple? For many, this is a very severe cut. One day in the temple, the next day you're living outside. Suddenly the bills are coming again. You have to get a job. You have to... So many responsibilities. Then where's time for sadhana? Where's time for mission? Suddenly it's again all about me, myself and I. Yeah. So transition, balance, sattva. Your time is very valuable. so I want to stop here. But I just want to forward an invitation for you. Beginning on 9th of September, I'm offering a course on self-leadership together with the College of Vedic Studies, which is connected here with the temple. So my invitation is to all the temple devotees to take part in that course. There's a fee which is complimentary for temple devotees. You're all invited, so to say. Yeah. You can check on the temple website, there are more informations, and would be my pleasure to serve you in that way. And also for those of you who are here now today and are not temple devotees, if you're interested in that course, just write me. My contact is on the website, and I'm happy to make some arrangement if you cannot afford it, that you can still participate.
How long and will it be here?
It's a 6 weeks course which will be online, happening every Friday evening, starting from the 9th of September till I think 14th of October. So just before Kartik we're going to finish, that you can be fully focused for your Kartik Vrata in good health, spirit and enthusiasm. Kantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhaktavinda ki jai. Srila Gurudev ki jai. So now someone has to take care of this. I don't know what to do.